The following podcast contains adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Governor. So, and then they're the polar opposite. They're literally the tonal opposite.
The middle of it is a non-accent.
Exactly. The middle is
Governor.
silence. It's the dual,
Sine waves.
Yeah, it's the sine waves. The
Canceling each other out.
It's the dual slot experiment, right? The waves cancel each other out.
Comes out as silence.
Yes, exactly. The middle point between Cockney and Louisiana is silence.
Oblivion.
Welcome to Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet Podcast, the only podcast to combine the subjects of gaming, tech, media, and puppets for no easily explainable reason.
It is May 22nd, 2026. You are the internet. I am Kevin Blades. My pronouns are he, him, and this is episode 10 of season 4 of Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet Podcast. Joining me as my co-host, his pronouns are he, him. It's Andrew, aka Bat Phantom.
The opening music, I was picturing.
He was miming.
I was picturing Ray Charles.
Yeah, it is a very Ray Charles-y.
In Blues Brothers specifically, showing off how the keyboard's perfectly fine. Oh, that action's fine. And he just goes to fucking town on it. So good.
It's a good song. Hi, how you doing?
Hey.
We're back. We're in person again,
are.
as opposed to last time. But
I was getting better, but it wasn't worth exposing you to whatever the fuck.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know.
Because the last thing I could do is lose a day of productivity.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert, I did.
It was going to happen anyway.
This week, so,
Yeah, it's always
I
the way.
couldn't lose a week of productivity. Anyway, we're doing the podcast again. Hi. We're here. I got nothing, man. You know what I didn't do? I didn't get a drink. I don't have a drink.
You're drinkless.
We're going to get through the intro, and I'm not going to have a drink.
You had a fisherman's friend, though.
I did have a fisherman's friend, so I am lozenged, and I'm not mixing the fisherman's friend and gin.
By the time we get to the puppet pit, it'll be lubricated.
That's when the words will start to get slurred. All right, how you doing, Andrew?
I've been worse. I shouldn't complain. Doesn't stop me.
I'm looking at the show notes here. I see genre media is in rough shape. I mean, this is like you could have just wrote well, duh.
Yeah, I know, it's fair. It's just the latest iteration of that is The Boys. I know you didn't watch The Boys.
It's a TV show, right?
Yeah, based on a comic.
Okay.
The comic itself is from, I want to say the 90s. I think it was at least early 2000s. Grant Morrison wrote it. It was written as a commentary on how shitty superheroes are.
I'm vaguely aware of the premise.
And it was, at the time, it was very
pithy.
It was a refreshing satirical take on how shitty and how people shouldn't trust these people with power. And
in my brain, I kind of lump it in with Watchmen, and this kind of like meta commentary.
Absolutely, that's fair. And it was just a much more graphic take on it, much more violent and gory and sexualized, and it was miserable. It was a pretty miserable at the time. You think it was a commentary on that era, which would have been a war in Iraq. I mean, totally different from now.
Yeah, completely different from right now.
And it was fairly successful as a comic. And then when the show came out, I was like, oh man, I mean, I read the comics and they got so far up their own ass, and it was too much by the end of it.
Yeah.
And it was,
after episode 6, I get it.
Oh,
I fucking get it.
When they did the show, I was like, okay, I don't think they're going to try to be like the comic directly.
Right.
I'm not expecting a note for note remake or a production of the show, but using the comic as the true Bible, but they very much did not. They created their own thing. It was much more suited for the current era. I don't want to say modern era, but it was very smart when it started out. It was a good take on it. It was during the not the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe era, but it was definitely at a point where people were already suffering from superhero fatigue,
right.
And it leaned into that. And it was very successful for a couple of seasons. And then it started to kind of sound like the thing it was satirizing.
Right.
And then once Trump got back in, the fact that they were taking the piss about the Trump presidency, the first Trump presidency, and then the second one started when they were already in production on the 4th season, and they realized, oh no, reality is much worse than what we're doing. And so they were desperately trying to find another angle for it, and it just went to shit. It really did. It was very frustrating writing wise. And so when they got into the final season, everybody's like, let's see where they go with it. Maybe they'll find a good voice for it. And no, they didn't. What sucks is it feels like they didn't try. There were definitely issues in the production that they had to write around, availability of certain actors, and it was.
I also, and this is pure speculation on my part, but I also imagine that because of where we are in the media landscape in general, there were probably external pressures that kind of went, maybe we shouldn't say blank.
I don't know. It didn't feel like they were being pressured in that sense. I would make sense if that were the case, but it was just simply, they just weren't.
They couldn't find it.
They weren't being smart.
Right.
And the way they played it out was very dumb. And if it was because they had to say, well, we can't have this person involved now, and we have to work around this other actor's limitations, so what the fuck are we going to do? And rather than really work at it and come up with something fresh and interesting, they just went, fuck it, this will work. Yeah. Are we fine with this?
We're on our way out anyway.
Well,
let's go low effort.
A good writer's room. I mean, I follow some very good writers that talk about their experiences, and the positive things that came out of these writers' rooms. I mean, you've got the benchmarks like Vince Gilligan with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Pluribus. Just the environments where writers are encouraged. Like, they would paint themselves into a corner and then have to come up with a way to get out of it. And there was ways were smart because they were smart writers.
Right.
And they came up with exciting, exhilarating concepts. And it just feels like these guys just went, who fucking cares? Let's just get it over with.
They didn't last Skywalker or Rise of Skywalker.
Jesus Christ!
Did they?
It was bad. It just
speaking of the benchmarks of weird fucking like no effort ways to get out of things.
I mean, the Star Wars side of things, it was just they Force Awakens. We've talked about it before. I mean, Force Awakens was
welcome
an
to
exercise.
The dead horse.
It was an exercise in nostalgia bation, as I coined it, and it was very frustrating because they just wanted to remix Star Wars, and like, all right, we're happy to see some new stuff happening here. But
I was actually thinking about this today for some reason. I don't know, unrelated, but it was just like, the parts of the Force Awakens where they did new stuff, where they introduced new characters and that stuff was really good.
Yes.
Like Rey, Poe, and Finn were like a really good trio. You could feel the chemistry there. There was something, but they just insisted on doing this retread,
absolutely,
like almost to a surreal level.
Yeah,
right?
It was just
we kind of got out of it.
That was JJ.
Exactly.
I'd like to know who's really responsible for the characters, because I seriously doubt JJ Abrams came up with the characters. I think whoever came up with them was the true visionary of Force Awakens, and they were pushed aside once they established these things, and then JJ turned it into a nostalgia machine, and it just the elements. I'm not going to get into it, but then when Rian Johnson, a great writer, again part of that world, took what he was given, setting up from Force Awakens, and tried to turn everything on its head and do something really clever.
And it was
great.
Yeah, no, we are in complete agreement.
Yeah.
We are of the Force Awakens was or not Force Awakens. The Last Jedi was genuinely revolutionary,
and it was exciting
and vital.
They were setting up something truly interesting. And then I say the reaction, but there was a negative reaction from
there was a coordinated
an
reaction.
Extremely loud minority of people who were super pissed off about it, and they reacted to that, and it was very frustrating that the powers that be decided to refocus on them instead of saying no, we're doing interesting stuff here, let's move on, and they just abandoned everything they set up to an extreme. And then the Rise of Skywalker, holy fuck. I mean, it's incredible. And like, again, these are the memes that are coming out from the boys are definitely referring to Star Wars as well for shitting the bed for an ending.
Right.
And it's just,
so it wasn't good. Is what I'm hearing.
But it wasn't like they came in ready to kick ass and just fell in their face. They were already punch drunk, and it didn't take much for them to hit the floor. Right. And now it's just over, and it's fine, whatever. and but it's very frustrating because it should have been better. And because of the climate we have, they're not given time to write.
Yeah,
is what it feels like. They're not given.
Just shove it through ChatGPT.
They never focus on the writing portion. They don't come out with a script or a series of scripts that are ready to go and then make those scripts come to life. It's simply, we got the beats, we'll hit the beats, we'll figure out the elements otherwise, and
we'll move the Post-it notes around.
Sure. And as I say, they did have to change directions. I think the characters, the way they had things play out, were not what they wanted. But I don't think that if they had everything they wanted, I don't think it still would have been that good. There's not enough there for there to be a great story. But every time there was a challenge that came up, they just kind of just blew through it and just hand waved it and they didn't do anything interesting, which is what I think is unforgivable for a show like that. So now we've got The Mandalorian and Grogu opening this weekend. First of all, guys, fuck you for naming it that.
The amount of confusion of like, oh wait, that's out. It
opened yesterday. I have tickets for Sunday.
Oh really?
Yeah, most.
Wow.
No, I was frustrated in the later stages of the series. I am happy to see Star Wars on a big screen on the IMAX.
Okay.
They've got some IMAX sequences.
Hope springs eternal.
It is
sure.
It is largely a children's film based on what I'm reading about, and if you approach it from that angle, it's fine. So it's too bad that they're not going to try to do interesting.
I mean, I don't know what
storytelling.
anybody expects from the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Well,
right?
exactly.
Like it's
and it's not going to do well.
It's kind of the Muppet Babies of Star Wars,
kind of.
right? Like,
but it comes back to, I think the love for Mandalorian comes from the premise.
Yeah.
Like that first episode.
I mean, motherfucker, we were sitting at Star Wars Celebration when they revealed that
Yeah.
shit, and we were like, "Oh shit!"
Because what they were promising was a Western.
Yeah.
And it would have been phenomenal. And then at the very end of the first episode, they hooked him up with Baby Yoda, which at the time was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, there was
That's
something there,
neat.
but they should. Yeah, the fact that oh wait, that tested well with focus groups, and now we have to focus on the Baby Yoda.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
I remember as that first season was playing out, I'm like, okay, at some point he's going to hand off the kid, right? And we're going to get a show, right?
We almost felt like that was the point we were at with the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Right? It was
like, okay, cool.
That was supposed to be it, and now we do other things.
That was a good arc for the Mandalorian to find his center and realize empathy.
Now he has a heart.
Yeah, and now he can go off and kick ass, but oh Jesus, now he's his buddy.
And now,
oh fuck. Here we go.
Now it's Baby Yoda and Baby Yoda's babysitter.
And I mean, you got to imagine it was just Disney that said, guys, this is tracking so well.
Yeah,
we need to keep the kid involved. And as I said when it came out, it's Lone Wolf and Cub. And that was a very successful series. Lone Wolf and Cub was one of the most successful manga of all time. And they were leaning into that. And I'm like, that's fine. If we can come up with some good stories, this is fine. It's frustrating that it's clearly on a marketing level and not necessarily the storytelling demanded. I don't think they conceived of The Mandalorian as Lone Wolf and Cub.
No.
I think they wanted to do a cool Western, and then they realized, oh shit, well, he's got the kid now. I guess this is how it is. And whatever. And I am not looking at this film as the next evolution of the Star Wars saga. It's simply it's a big episode of the show, which is, it's a shame that that's basically what it is. By most accounts, it is simply, it's barely even a supersized episode of the show. It's even the film itself, I understand, is effectively 2 episodes. It feels like there's a clear delineation in the story where they're going in it, and there's like the first one and then there's the second one.
You know how things go these days. They very well may have done that intentionally to go like, well, if the film gets canceled, we can at least get 2 shows out of
That's
this.
fair.
Right?
That's entirely likely that could have been what happened. I mean, they could have done a reverse Moana 2, where that was conceived as a show. And then they went, what are we doing? This is money. And then they went, yeah, of course. No, let's turn it into a movie. And it's structurally, I haven't seen it, but structurally, it definitely feels like an episodic show instead of a movie, because movies are supposed to be structured differently. But this is where we are, is people have thrown away the history of film and how film is supposed to progress. Like a movie is generally a 2-hour story with, beginning, middle, and an end and a resolution. And those fundamental elements are in place, and we have grown used to that, and it works when it's done properly. And then, occasionally you would find somebody that would mess with that system and do something interesting. Again, interesting comes into play. And instead, it's just...
But the whole point of that is like, it was the same thing as learning art, right? That what everybody tells you is if you're good, it's fine to go and break the rules, but you have to learn the rules first, right?
Right.
Like
And these days, they just want to hit the ground running and ignore the setup and just be action sequences. And, we got a world where Netflix demands that when they make a movie that the characters have to remind each other what's happening on screen at all times because it's a second
because everyone's
experience.
looking at their phone. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it started as a joke and then it became reality.
Oh, yeah.
And if the movies are getting that way too, then we're fucked. And in a lot of ways we are.
I mean, we're so far beyond fucked.
Yeah. And this isn't. There's not crazy demand for it. I've been influenced because there's a whole IMAX subreddit. And so that shows up a lot in my feed, and it feels like all people want to talk about is trying to get tickets for the 70mm presentation of the Odyssey, because that's the next big target in that world. And it's nice that we have something to look forward to. But then, holy shit, have you heard about the discourse about the Odyssey?
So I have followed a number of historians.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little, but it's mostly that, nah.
It's so...
like, even though the Odyssey is a fantasy, let's be clear.
Yes.
But like, if he's trying to go for a depiction of historical accuracy, not even close.
No, and I don't think he is. And I mean, the fact that they're actually going to have a Cyclops and things like that. So he's not trying to do a grounded version of it, but it is going to be Nolan.
The thing that rubs historians the wrong way for every one of these type of productions is the fact that everything's had the color desaturated. Everything is that everything's covered in shit. Like, it's the Monty Python joke. How do you know he's a king? He hasn't got shit all over him. Yeah. Right? That's the joke. And the thing is, like, it really wasn't like that. So, like, that's what really bugs historians when they see this, like, color desaturated, a gray filter over everything, and everything is muddy.
But that's not what people have a problem with.
Yeah.
See, now...
I mean, I'm assuming there's some kind of racial diversity.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
so,
I didn't even know. I just assumed.
Yeah.
I just guessed.
So it's fascinating in that...
We can talk about this from a historical perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right-wingers love them some Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Nolan himself, I don't think he's a right-wing kind of a person.
Not intentional.
He's probably fairly conservative, but I think he's also got some fairly liberal ideas overall. I don't think they've ever sat him down and tried to lock it down.
Based on the third Batman movie, I would say he's probably a libertarian.
Yes, I think you're right. Not like the extreme, but yeah, he definitely falls into that category. So when the second trailer came out, or the full trailer, I should say, for the Odyssey came out, and people started to hear what was being said, there was some concern. I myself was a little taken aback when Tom Holland says, "My dad's coming back." And I went, wait, what? My dad? That doesn't sound like something from that era. And then also Matt Damon sounds like he's just doing his Boston shtick, which is giving people pause. So it feels like
he's doing what who was the Romeo and Juliet but set in the modern age?
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
So and I think that's interesting. Now, again, if that's his approach and he's just letting everybody do their thing, but Tom Holland isn't doing a British accent, so they're not just doing their own language. Right. But they're also, I would imagine no one's not talking about this yet because it's still in production. Well, that's not true. Anyway, they're not trying to be British, I think, is the first step.
Right.
Because we've grown up on a steady diet of British versions of these epics. So when they don't have British accents, it's still a little jarring. Yeah. So when they have the Americans doing an American accent and they've got British people doing American accents, that gives people pause.
Because it's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's British, right?
Exactly. So it's a little weird. And then some of the dialogue notes are too modern, and that made people a little nervous. But unfortunately, the bulk of the complaints currently are about Lupita Nyong'o playing Helen of Troy. Oh. So they obviously the right-wing boys wanted a beautiful Greek woman that they could jerk off to as Helen of Troy, because who else would you picture in that role? as you can say historically, there's a good chance that the Helen of Troy would not have been a beautiful white
There's
woman.
a reason I don't play the Kingdom Come games, let me tell you.
So that's a big part of it, and so that's become a big discussion. And the other revelation of the trailer is that Achilles is played by Elliot Page.
Oh.
So again,
I had to look up in the lexicon. Oh, right. Yeah, Elliot Page.
So they're like, Elliot Page versus Brad Pitt? No. So that alone has, again, the right-wingers are
now I want to see it.
They're freaking the fuck out over this thing. It's like, oh no, it's woke DEI bullshit. The movie we've been so excited for is just going to be pandering.
It's the fucking audit. There's a Cyclops.
Yeah.
If you can believe this Cyclops, you can believe in a black Helen of Troy, for Christ's sake.
So it's very interesting at this point how now that perception of the film is changing, the coverage is going to start changing.
Yeah.
The discourse is going to start changing.
Oh, Elon's going to have a field day with this shit.
He already is.
Okay.
He's already freaking out
See,
online.
I don't even know. I just guessed. And it's like,
no,
this shit is so predictable. Do something original, Grandpa.
Yeah,
Holy
so the
fuck.
fact that he's trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And the I'm not saying his core audience, but a big chunk of his audience is very actively recoiling to these changes. So
awesome.
So good for them. But
I mean, Lupita as Helen of Troy is brilliant because like the whole thing about Helen of Troy in the story is that she was striking, right? Like she was unusually beautiful.
Right.
Lupita is striking.
Absolutely.
Like you notice Lupita,
ironically
right?
Enough, who is also in Force Awakens.
That's true. Well,
kind of. Her presence is there.
Her presence is there. Her voice is there.
Yeah.
But like,
it's,
you know when she's in the room, right?
She's also playing her sister. So I guess she's got a twin in the story. Right. So she's playing both parts. Again, a thing that sucked before even this trailer came out, when the casting news came out, people were photoshopping pictures of her from 12 Years a Slave and presenting it as screen captures from the movie as Helen of Troy, and she looks like a fucking slave in that movie. And so they were like, this is what Nolan's telling is Helen of Troy in the new woke version. So again, it's very disingenuous because these people have no fucking soul.
They're liars and thieves.
Exactly. So that was the beginning of the shitty discourse, was the photoshopping of that and presenting that as the character, which is obviously not the case. So anyway, there's genre-wise, there's still plenty of other films coming out this year, but IMAX is just so overloaded. Like there's so few of them, and there's so many movies that are being offered in IMAX over the next couple of months. It's getting to be out of control because there's only so many really good IMAX theaters that you can do this in. And then, as we mentioned previously, Disney's got their own iteration of big screen entertainment coming out, which is going to be interesting because they're not building new theaters. I'm pretty sure they're just slapping the tag on other theaters. So I don't know how that's going to work in Canada, but anyway, there's a lot of genre stuff still coming. But right now things are, I don't want to say they're dire, but there's not a lot of hopeful.
Not a lot to get excited about.
Yeah. I mean, A Disclosure Day, the new Spielberg, that looks good, but he's kind of touched that world before, the aliens arriving on Earth. So we're in an interesting split. Oh, Supergirl, that's going to be good because that's again a very progressive, shall we say, story.
Is that James Gunn?
He's producing it.
Okay.
But I read the comic that it's based on, and it's really fucking good. So I'm very hopeful for that. Oh God, the live action Moana. Oh, Jesus, that looks bad. That looks aggressively shitty. But again, there's like Moana comes out July 10th, and the week after the Odyssey comes out. So obviously they're not going to keep that for more than a week. And you've already got Avengers Doomsday and Dune 3 coming out the same day. So obviously Avengers is not going to be on IMAX, which is crazy. Anyway, there's a shitload of movies that are scheduled. I mean, even Godzilla Minus Zero is going to be in IMAX on November 6th, and then, God knows how much time they're going to have. So it's becoming very difficult to get tickets, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And people are already trying to scalp the early tickets that are out for Dune 3 in 70 millimeter IMAX, because that's still considered to be the gold standard, is the film version. Now, as I've said before, the problem with the film version of IMAX is that it breaks.
Right.
And the nearest one, the only one in North America, in Canada, as far as I'm aware, is the one at Vaughan. And the film breaks regularly. So there are many times when people have gone to see it in 70 millimeter and they end up watching it in digital because the film broke, and it takes time to fix that. So you're rolling the dice if you go see it in 70 mil, because we're in a world where they don't have projectionists. Evidently there's an actual job listing right now for an IMAX projectionist, which is hilarious.
Wow.
I don't know how many they're hiring for North America, but there's desire to see things, and it's great. It's great that people want to see stuff in 70 mil, but it's still very much it's a nice to have. But look, having seen a shitload of movies in the new dual laser format at the Scotia IMAX, I'm fine with that.
Right.
I mean, as much as I love film, I much rather have a pristine presentation and
to be able to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's barely. I mean, I appreciate film grain and a film presentation, but this is great, and it's not. It's almost no risk. Those projectors will go down too.
Sure.
Somebody was at a Cineplex release and seeing Mandalorian and Grogu, and the projector was busted. So anyway, that's a lot, but I wanted to get that out of the way in the intro, because media is in a very interesting place.
Stuff is exceptionally mediocre.
Yeah, it is, and I need something great.
Right.
And I'd have to go back at this point. I have to go back and dig through other things that I haven't watched yet to say, oh, there's something. Like I finished Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, the Apple series based on Godzilla. The last season was entertaining. It was an interesting idea, and again, it does continue to have that amazing heart, like the family-based drive to it, and the characters are what's really interesting. I mean, there's titans involved, but that's what's really driving the plot, is their family relationships, and it's great that they're doing a nice job of balancing that. So that was good. Daredevil Born Again season 2, I finally finished that. It's good. It was. I feel like they said that they didn't like the direction that they were going in the first one, so they went back and reshot the whole thing. So I'd be curious to know what that was.
Right.
If it was something more challenging and they just went, no, let's just make it more entertaining. And I'm not going to say no to a more entertaining show, but I still feel like they left a lot on the table with this series. But, and I think in the end they just wanted to set up one of the more popular Daredevil arcs, which will be happening in the next season. So, but yeah, I don't have a lot coming up that looks particularly exciting. I mean, Pluribus season 2 isn't even in production yet, so that's not going to come out until 2027. So yeah, I just have to play video games, but there's no video games.
Oh no, there's there's a couple.
Yeah. If only I had some way to cope with my suffering.
I bless you for trying to do transition from this to coping mechanism, where we talk about the things that have either inspired, distracted, or otherwise uplifted us in the past 2 weeks. This will be the third time that I've talked about this on coping mechanism, but I will laser focus this one.
Well, yeah,
because yes, we're talking about Bloodywood again, but last week, exactly a week ago, as the crow flies, I don't know, that's not right. As the clock ticks, exactly 1 week ago today, my spouse and myself were sitting in Danforth Music Hall, and Bloodywood played their sold out.
Did they play?
Oh, they played.
Or did they? I don't know. There must be a better word than played.
Well,
they performed at an optimum capacity for a band of their skills.
They did indeed perform at an optimum capacity, and I was actually kind of expecting them to be a bit, low energy, because this was the second to last show of the entire North American tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, I've seen, bands before that have gone on big, long time. They've been touring for 4 years. It's been a long.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And they're doing a UK and Europe tour after this. They're still going, man. They're just blazing through it. And this is the first time, like this is the second time they've been through North America. This is their first time in Toronto. Last time they were opening for somebody in Montreal. Or not Montreal, I mean Mississauga. Begins with an M. So this was their first time in Toronto, and they sold out. And they've been selling out every single show on the North American tour, which is a first. So it's like they're really happy because they are energized, and boy, did they show it. They fucking brought it. Like it was easily in my top 5 shows I've ever seen, like top 5 concerts ever. So
fantastic.
That it was everything and more that I wanted it to be. But the thing I did want to point out specifically, this is the coping mechanism for me. Like, there's nothing more than this for the past 2 weeks. They have had a photographer going with them on their shows, and they post every show. They post a bunch of photos from the show, and thankfully it's not just somebody with a phone camera. It's like an actual photographer, like from them, and they're taking photos of the crowd and the band and all that kind of stuff. And there's one, this is posted on their Instagram, and there's one particular photo, and my spouse actually was the one who pointed this out to me originally. And she said she was on the bus. She was just scrolling her phone, and she saw this picture, and she said, "This was all I could do to like stop from breaking into tears. It was so beautiful." It's one particular photo of the Toronto show, a young woman like in the front row up against one of the barricades. She's in a hijab. She's clearly, from the Middle East and somewhere. And the look of joy on her face is just, it tells a story, right? Because right there is kind of, this is what it's all about. This young woman has faced bigotry from multiple different directions, right? And here she is in the front row watching 4 guys from New Delhi bring the fucking house down, right? Like it was just that perfect moment, right? And it's so lovely and beautiful that it will uplift you just looking at this young woman.
Representation is so important, and as a couple of white dudes, we have always taken it for granted, and it's tough to not. It's important to remind yourself that other people have to have.
Well, and this is the thing I keep coming back to, and I may have even talked about this in the podcast before, but this is worth reiterating. I was reading. So I've always been really, I always really enjoy female-fronted, particularly metal bands. Yeah. And I never really gave it a whole lot of thought as why. It was never a gooner thing, so don't even start on that. But I was reading an interview once with Angela Gossow, former of Arch Enemy. And they asked her the questions like, so what's the deal? So what's the deal with, female-fronted metal bands? Like, it seems like it's more than just the rarity. There's something particular about specifically female-fronted metal bands. And her answer stuck with me, and I think this is applicable to all of this. And she said, well, the thing is, metal is about empowerment. It's a power fantasy. That's the whole subject matter of the genre. This goes for video games too. And so when you see somebody who was formerly and traditionally disempowered gain power and become empowered, if you have an ounce of empathy in you, that resonates with you, and that is an empowering thing for you to see, right? That is exactly what this is all about for me. That is specifically it. So when I watch Bloodywood or a female-fronted metal band like Arch Enemy or something, that's what it does for me. It gives me that sense of like, look, we can defeat the bullshit. Yeah. We can find a voice, and like everybody can participate in this. That is what it is all about. So yeah, there we go. That's my thing. Is that specifically I linked to it. Specifically that photo on the Bloodywood Instagram. I'm sorry for sending people to Instagram, but it is worth seeing.
Yeah.
What you got?
So I don't know if I've mentioned Swan Boy before.
It does not ring a bell.
So Branson Reese is just one of the best people on earth right now. The guy is just absolutely killing it. He's got a brilliant mind. He's smart as hell, and he's twisted, but and he's a really solid artist. And what he's done with this character Swan Boy is just insane. So I mean, web comics were a real driving force for me in the 2000s and the 2010s, and it's gotten very stale. Like a lot of those great artists have moved on to other things. There's a few still going at it and that are still creating good work, because the web is such a great platform for art, as opposed to, the printed media is great, but the web lets you do whatever you want, for comic to comic. You can do a single panel, you can do
as
40,
quickly as you want to.
Exactly, you can do 40 panels, whatever. And Branson, he created Swan Boy a couple of years ago, and he's just the most twisted but beautiful character. He's the beautiful idiot we all knew growing up, and that did the dumbest shit possible and should be dead 1,000 times over, but he's still capable of surprising you. And the characters that he's created around him are so fantastic. And the run he has been on with the Swan Boy comic in the last couple of months has just been unreal. Like, some of the most creative, brilliant, and insane material has come out of this mind, and it's so amazing to just watch it play out. I joined his Patreon because he posts his stuff earlier, and what he's been doing in these recent arcs, the arcs will eventually stop, but then they do kind of dovetail into other stories, and he's creating mythos for the characters, which is insane. Like, one of the characters, Rona, her father, who she's disconnected from, it turns out was actually a filmmaker or an actor for Italian Gallo films in the 70s, and there's an absolutely fucking incredible arc where he's telling her about his past in making these movies for these incredible, and it's just, again, these, if you know Gallo films at all, clearly Branson is a huge fan of that, and he creates all these fake movies, and all the characters are half animal hybrids basically, so it gives him an excuse to go into crazy directions. Anyway, just the stories he's been coming up with are just the product of a beautiful diseased mind, and it's just I'm so happy to be part of that. And it has just been, and the love that people have for him online is what's really great too, because he always likes to repost other people's praise of his work, because it gets the word out. But just seeing people react to this stuff is also a joy, and it really is incredible. And so it's 1,000% worth firing up swanboy.com. And if you don't get it, that's fine. I mean, but if you do get it, oh my God, you're in for a treat, because it is just brilliant, and it just it very much speaks to me. The character is younger than me, but I mean, a lot of the references that he's making in the comic are also very nerdy but smart. A lot of musical stuff from the 90s, and it's very satisfying when you get a reference, like a deep cut, and you actually get it. And just the amount of detail he'll throw into these things is just incredible. And again, the people online, when you follow the threads on Blue Sky and people talking about it, and you realize, oh my God, I didn't get that. And and it's just been, it has been a source of joy for me for these last couple of years now that he's been posting, and he posts like crazy multiple times a week. It's just, obviously the muse is in him, and what the money he's making from his Patreon is letting him do this stuff professionally. But he also writes. He was one of the writers for Strip Law, which I think I talked about before, which is on Netflix. And again, funny as hell, totally unhinged, but it's hilarious, about a law firm on the Vegas Strip in a kind of an alternate world that's just a little bit more insane than ours. But there's just joy oozing out of this show. Of how insane they are, and how amazed they are that they get to create these things and present them to you in these incredibly unhinged fashions that never should have been produced, and yet here we are.
Yep.
And God help us. God love Netflix for giving it a shot, and hopefully they'll give them 1,000 more seasons until they just decide they don't want to do it anymore. But I don't even know if we're getting a second season. But they had a blast with what they did, and hopefully we'll get more. But anyway, swanboy.com, and thank me later.
Excellent. All right, there we go. We're going to take a quick actual break because I need to get a drink. And we will be back with the Puppet Pit.
You have entered an alternate dimension. A dimension of fleece and fur, of foam and industrial adhesives. So I hope you have good ventilation. A signpost up ahead. Watch your step. You have just stumbled into the Puppet Pit.
Welcome to the Puppet Pit, where we talk about the puppet side of Operation Puppet for the last 2 weeks. And
Puppets.
Yeah. So it's going to be relatively short because there's not a lot to talk about based on what I've already talked about in the past couple podcasts. That yes, business is still bad. Not as bad, thankfully, but still not great. So I've been scaling things back a little bit as I have been job hunting. But it's still ticking along. So the past 2 weeks, there's been 2 builds. One's been a commission, thankfully, which is real good.
Whew.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one, so that one was a Greebly, and actually was it was funny because a few weeks ago I had made 2 Greeblies. I made a pink, I think, one and a yellow one. The yellow one sold. And literally the day it sold, somebody had messaged me going, "Oh, this is the one I wanted." And I was like, "Well,
I can make that happen."
Guess what? I can make another. So that's what this was, which was great. And so that's going out. They actually just paid for it, so it's going out this weekend. And then I was like, "Well, what else do I want to make?" Now this is going to be a short week because Monday was a holiday. And it was an even shorter week because I got food poisoning on Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
So thankfully it was just mild. So I was basically just kind of laid up for a day, not in great shape, but not terrible either. I've had worse. And it was definitely that. So, all was fine now. But anyway, basically what I had to do was I had what I thought were 4 days. And I keep trying to save Fridays as a kind of flex day because I like to do product photography and get listings and socials done. And then if I have any time, I like to squeeze in the Ortis build at some point because that's the only days I really have to work on it. So I basically I got 4 days, but I had to cram 4 days worth of work into 2 days.
As you do.
And I did it, which is the nice part. So there's a pink and purple ogre now up on the shop. Just went up today, and they're very cute and adorable, and it's all nice. So and I sold a small finally. There've been a couple of smalls on the shop forever. One finally sold today. So.
The smalls feel like something that could go in a wave. Like it's like some people could see them and go, "Oh." And just all of a sudden, boom, they're all gone.
I think that what happened was that everybody it's an algorithmic thing because I'm at the point now where my reach is kind of reached maximum saturation for what it can do.
Right.
So everyone who wants one has seen it and got it. Right. So it's slowed quite a bit, I think, above and beyond the cost of living crisis, which is definitely a thing. That's kind of where I'm at now. So it's one of the things that's contributing to these slow sales.
I forgot that you made me a drink and I almost drank this like water.
Oh no, Dad, don't do that.
I got it near my mouth.
You said you wanted another.
It went, "Hello, I'm liquor," and I went, "Oh shit, okay, yes, you're liquor. Thank God."
When you said I wanted another,
I did. I do.
Okay.
My brain just forgot that I had it, and I almost downed it, which would have been bad.
Andrew was drinking water. I just handed him something that looks like water, but it's not water.
Clear joy.
All right.
Sorry,
so
but
yeah,
yes.
no, that's where we are with the build this week. So as a gentle reminder, until the end of the month, there is still a sale going on the direct shop only. It's 10% off everything.
And the commissions are open.
And commissions are most definitely open. Mercifully, I do have another commission starting next week, so that is very good.
I mean, I don't know what happened with it. I know you did post about the availability of a certain amphibian. Did that? There's
more than that. So there were that amphibian, actually amphibians, because the amphibian and their nephews are still available, which is a bit surprising, but
including your treasured one.
So this is what we're about to talk about.
Okay.
I haven't done a video yet. I have posted about this on the Discord only.
Oh, that's what it was.
That's what it was. So now we're going to talk about it on the podcast. I'm trying to give people an early in. Those who know and follow me, and then I'm going to go all out on it because I want to try and make sure it gets to somebody who's really going to treasure it first, right? So yes, here's the deal. If you've watched any video or live stream that I've done that's featured me sitting in the shop at some point, you have probably seen a Kermit in the background. That is my prized Kermit. That is the first finished Kermit that I made. That is the result of about a year's worth of studying archival photos. My goal was I want to make my perfect Kermit. Now that's the perfect Kermit,
And
or
this
even
precedes Operation Puppet.
well, no, this is in the process of doing Operation Puppet.
Oh, okay.
Operation Puppet was going at this point. It was sort of just after I realized, oh, hang on, I actually can do this. I can make these things. And of course, then the goal, and I mean, doing a Kermit is kind of a rite of passage of every puppet builder. Every puppet builder that's their, okay, now I'm a real boy. You know, it's
Yeah.
now that's the point. So that was the real high water mark for me. That was the moment. That was the challenge. It was like, can I make something that actually looks like Kermit, and a real Kermit? Because I've seen real Kermits in person, right? So I know what I'm talking about. So, and it was a huge challenge, and it remains to this day the hardest puppet I have ever done. It is like literally a year's worth of prototyping and working and coming up with techniques. I didn't base it on anybody else's patterns that are floating around. There are a few that kind of make circulation every now and then. Didn't want to do any of that. I did it all myself from scratch by hand. Every stitch in that puppet is hand stitched. It is exactly what I wanted it to be. And that was my goal, was to kind of get it to the point where it's like, I could look at that and go, that's Kermit, right? That's my whole thing. I wasn't trying to replicate any specific build, because Kermit's changed quite a bit over the years. I was just trying to kind of come up with what in my head is the quintessence of Kermit, right? That is what the goal was for that build. So the fact that I was able to actually do that, and I mean, the fleece is hand dyed and high quality Nyla fleece. It's like I could go on and on about all of the work there's literally about 200 hours worth of work in that thing. But it is like the most, premium quality, as it were, puppet that I've ever built. Well, so here's the thing. As y'all know, as I talked about a few times before, I'm about to take a little weekend vacation coming up real soon. It's going to happen no matter what. But what I would like to do is be able to do that without having to lean on my credit cards too much, so I can just relax and have a nice time and not have to worry about paying it off. So I am putting my replica Kermit up for sale. It hasn't been listed yet. I have to do the photography for it and all that kind of stuff. It's going to go up at $800 Canadian, which I know sounds like a lot, and it is, but I mean, honestly, there are replica Kermits they charge more than that for, to be perfectly blunt, replicas that aren't as good as this one. This is as good as I can possibly make it. And like I said, there's literally hundreds of hours worth of work into this thing. So if you include all the research time and the prototyping that I did. So, I think it's a fair price. So that's 800 Canadian. I can't remember what it is in American, but it's considerably less than that.
It's $75 Canadian American.
Exactly. It's pocket change. That will be going up on the shop within the next week. If you are hearing this and you want it, message me and I will just sell it to you directly, and I won't ever have to do the listing and have it potentially go to somebody who isn't going to appreciate it, because that is the whole thing. Now, the other thing is, like, it is bittersweet because it is, other than my own original characters like Frankie and the Oracle and Jelly Roll and all those characters, this is the puppet that really means the most to me. That is the most personal. I poured the most of myself into. So it is bittersweet that I have to let it go.
It has a surprising amount of blood in it.
The fact that
The sweat and the tears are unquestionable,
the
but
fact
the blood,
that it has
man,
any is bad. But yeah,
it's all inside. It's not stained.
Yeah,
it's
don't
not blood
worry.
stained. It's the blood's interior.
This is why we use this particular type of foam, because it wicks away moisture.
There you go.
It's good. So yeah, that is going up. Now, if I wasn't so much in need of going to TennoCon for my own emotional health. Who knows? Maybe a disaster. It has the potential to go bad yet, so don't worry. But if I didn't feel that this trip was so important, I would not be selling it. So it is with reluctance that I am selling it. But I think it's worth it. And I also know now that I've made a few Kermits. If I wanted to, I could do this again.
Right.
I am now at the level of confidence in myself. Before, it was like, I can't believe I did that. Right. Every time I walked in the room and looked at it, I'm like, wow. Right. I did that. Now I'm a little bit more confident. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good, and I can do that again.
It wouldn't take you 200 hours to make the next one.
It would not take me 200 hours to make the next one, no. I mean, honestly, so much of that was prototyping and
absolutely.
And, like I've got
that's the beauty of
patterns
prototyping.
now.
Exactly. Now you can do it.
So yeah, that's what's happening. So if you want the deluxe full body, I want to point out it's full body, it's got legs and everything.
Does not come with a bicycle.
Does not come with a bicycle or a banjo. Do message me and we will deal with it. But yes, speaking of TennoCon, moving on to something a little bit happier. I mean, it's not unhappy. It's bittersweet. It is time. And you know, if and when I get back to doing the build streams, I'll just put the Oracle in the background, and you know, it'll also mean something there.
Perfect choice.
So yeah, I have found a little bit more time to continue on the Ortis build, as we've talked about before. Today, in fact, I finalized the design and the 3D geometry for the head shell. The one I was using before I wasn't quite sure. I had the cutout for the handhold wasn't quite right, and it was also way too thin. It was very brittle, actually. And I was going for thin because, of course, in a puppet build, every bit of weight matters, and the weight that you wouldn't think matters.
Aluminium.
So yeah, I've got to a point where I think I've got enough structural strength in it, but it's also light enough that I can like carry it around all day and perform it all day. Right. So that's good. I've also finalized the design for the mouth plates, and I know how the construction of the head part is going to go. Now moving on to the body part. So my goal going forward for Ortis is I am bringing a Muppet Ortis to TennoCon. The only question now is it going to have the eye rig or not? Because his eyes swivel, and I want to do the whole I can go happy or I can go mean eye rig swivel. That I have an idea for how the eye rig is going to work, but I don't know if I'll have the time to actually build it. So what I want to do first is I want to get let's just make an Ortis. Just make one that's Ortis. If the eyes don't move, fine. It's still Ortis. It's still Muppet Ortis. Get to that point. Then if I have the time, I'll tinker around with making an eye rig, because it takes like 4 hours to print a head shell. So I'll just set up printing before I go to bed and wake up in the morning and there'll be a head shell there. Great.
Magic.
Yeah. Exactly.
Elves.
I didn't even say this last time, but because we talked a bit about Ortis last time, the geometry that I'm using for the Ortis head is literally the geometry from the game.
Yeah.
I managed to pull the 3D model out of the game and load that into Blender. And so I've done a reverse Tron. Nice. I've taken something from a video game and I made it happen in the real world.
It's the sequel.
So there we go.
You did a Tron Ares, but in a good way.
Yeah. Well, without Geraldino. So yeah, there's the Ortis update. Going well-ish, not going as fast as I'd like. So I think after I'm done this commission that I'm going to start next week, I may have to just knuckle down and go, okay, TennoCon's coming, man. It's less than a month away. It's time to go. So we got to get going on that. So actually it's just slightly more than a month away.
Yeah.
But anyway, close enough. It's going to feel like less than a month.
Yeah.
So if I tell myself it's less than a month, I will hurry and then we'll get the build done. So that's the important part. So yeah, there we go. There is the Puppet Pit. That's all of the things. All of the links are on operationpuppet.com. Join the Discord, etc., etc. And we will take a quick fake break, ? Yeah, okay, great. And we will be back with Pixel Town. What am I with?
The sky above the port was the color of a YouTube video locked behind 17 unskippable ads. Around the rainy streets, people dodged out-of-control robo-taxis and shot down delivery drones carrying $50 burgers. Here we fight the corporate ecologies and get excited about avoiding our phones. Welcome to the mean streets of Pixel Town.
Welcome to Pixel Town, where we talk about tech, gaming, and all things thereunto related. It's time for Andrew to say something.
I mean,
because you have something planned every single time. You've got something planned.
I've been trying not to step on it the last couple.
Okay.
So
I was giving you room.
I know, and I apologize. I was loading up my notes for the
staring at his phone like a true. I don't know what you're not Gen X, are you?
I'm preparing myself for the segment.
You're not. You're a millennial, right?
No, I'm Gen X.
Are you Gen X?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
I'm Gen X as fuck.
I mean, I guess actually, I'm older Gen X.
Yeah,
so.
you're beginning on I'm
okay.
late middle.
You're the late middle Gen X. The late middle period of that dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Good heavens. All right, fine. Like a true Gen Xer, you're staring at your phone like it's a novelty.
Again, I'm preparing my notes for the discussion. You want what's the honorable mention?
So yeah, this person does not need me, nobody like me pointing them out, but this has only recently started to be suggested to me by the algorithm. So this is my first awareness of them, but it is a particular YouTuber who goes by the name Bellular News.
I am familiar.
And boy, they got good coverage, man. So I appreciate so they cover like gaming and tech and all, specifically the business side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really appreciate is he's got very thorough coverage, right? So he's not rage baiting. He's really covering it from every possible angle. And so you come out the other end of it. I mean, he's definitely on our quote unquote our side,
yes,
right? But he's really covering all of the nuances, I think is the thing I appreciate about him. And so when you see, like, when he's talking about a problem, you really appreciate the scope of the problem by the time he's done, because he's really covered all the bases.
Yeah, he gets into good detail on his videos. They're both 15 minutes, which is a good length, and he'll give you the details if you're not aware, and then you can skip past it and get into the meat of whatever the current issue is.
It's a really good place to go for, like, you see a headline and the headline says this, clickbaity thing. He'll cover it, and then he'll kind of give you the context behind it, and sort of like go, okay, here's what's wrong with this, or here's why that's misleading, but here's what's actually the problem, kind of thing, right? He'll do that, so it's really good. I mean, the thing that I watched a video recently, we were talking about, where we're at with the gaming landscape is dire, but it is not necessarily specifically the fault of the corporations. It is the fact that the companies like Sony and Nintendo and more or less Microsoft are kind of caught in the middle, because they want something, their customers want something, and the shareholders want something, and all three of these things are different. Yeah. And so, and no two of these things agree. Right. So this is the disconnect that we're currently having. And so the company in the middle that knows the shareholders want this and the customers want this, they have to find a way to navigate through that. And it's never a good solution. It's not one that's ever going to make anybody happy. Right.
This is the bigger issue these days and this works for most genre media as well. And what a lot of people are trying to do is elevate the taste of the audience, trying to give them something better to aspire to, something that they should be looking for, rather than going for the slop. They want to make people appreciate the quality material. And in this AI-driven world, it's more important than ever to support the real art, be they video games or movies or television or comic. Because the attraction of the AI slop is very powerful especially from a corporate level, if it can be produced much cheaper and much faster, and people will consume it.
That is the
then
kind
therefore
of
it's a victory.
that's the disconnect he's talking about, because
Yes.
the shareholders only see one thing, and they see their margins, right? That's it.
And doing things right costs money. Even with film, I mean, if you want, you could spend a lot of money on a film it seems very niche, but if it can get an audience, then it can be successful. But the problem is audiences will often bounce off of it, and all it takes is one stupid fucking report to change what people are expecting out of a show or a game, and all of a sudden, all of that good effort is in the toilet.
Yeah.
Because now the perception has changed, and this is kind of what's happening with something like Marathon, where there was so many people that wanted it to fail for not even for hatred of the game. Simply, they wanted something to hate on.
What was the one before that
Concord.
was like
High Guard?
High Guard? That's it.
Right,
Yeah,
and it was like, let's dogpile on
like
games that are trying to be popular.
it got trashed before it ever really
had no
any
chance.
kind of chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what the source of it was still, and on one hand, it was supposed to be from a point of view of, oh, corporate gaming is bad, we don't want it to be successful, and we as the gamers have chosen to make it fail. Instead of letting it be what it is and fail on its own merits or succeed on its own merits, it was simply impossible for it to succeed because the narrative was already decided. This is a failure.
And this is part of the algorithmically driven rage
and that's
bait,
it. Because rage bait works, you get a lot of clicks with negative coverage for these things, and so shitty YouTubers and shitty writers are rewarded for dogpiling on something. So when, like Marathon, because it was a very expensive game and had to be successful very quickly, and there were people that had a vested interest in its failure because that meant more clicks.
Yeah.
And that was not based on any true legitimate journalism. It was simply, if I make a video dumping on it, I'm going to get 1 million clicks. If I make a video talking about how it's actually good, I'm going to get 500,000 clicks.
Yeah, because I mean, like, every single actual games journalist that I have seen and heard that have been covering it have relatively positive things to say about it.
Exactly. And the same way that
seems fine.
And his site, coming back to Bellular News, and he's trying to be very grounded with a lot of this stuff and explaining how there is often people got a bone to pick, and sometimes it's unrealistic, and people have to understand that there's, but it still requires the audience to do a little work.
Yeah,
you have to be willing to ask, why are there so many negative pieces about this game or whatever. And you have to be willing to look into it.
Where being a contrarian can actually be helpful for you, because if you go, I'm going to do this, I want to look at the thing that isn't popular, that people are specifically trying to dump on. I want to champion this because nobody likes it, right?
And this comes back to the hatred of critics.
Yeah. And
gaming is very celebratory of those who dunk on critics. And the critics, they're, some shit like Gamergate started on the basis of people that shouldn't be reviewing video games were reviewing video games.
There's gatekeeping.
It was largely that, but it was also, and there were a lot of people who were covering video games that have no love for gaming and should not have been doing that. But that's not what it became, of course. It got twisted very quickly because people realized they could pervert it and make it their own weapon to destroy people they didn't think should be making video games. And that's why everything went horrible in that world. But there's still a sense that there's too many people that believe all critics are wrong.
Yeah.
In every format. Anybody who does criticism is bad. They're just failed makers. And that's incredibly wrong. And I follow some great writers. And unfortunately, though, that mentality has permeated all media, and most companies have gotten rid of, they don't pay writers anymore to do proper criticism.
And the funny thing is, the people who are doing the dumping on quote unquote critics are themselves critics. Like that
Yeah.
is what they're doing. But they're just
But they think that they're
they
above
have a specific agenda that or like, you know, a model that they're feeding to do that.
Yeah.
But like they're just as guilty as the people they're criticizing.
Haters are rewarded for just simply dogpiling. And that's shitty, and it drives good writers away, and that's what's generally happened over the last decade, is that good writers have basically just said, fuck this, I'm out, because they critiqued something beloved and were honest about it and didn't like it, and rather than read the review and break down and have it explain to them why this didn't work for me as a critic and these are fundamental issues that need to be addressed, it was simply, this person hated this game, let's destroy their life.
Yeah.
And it's just not acceptable, obviously. And if you're a writer and next thing you know, you get fucking swatted because you shit on a Call of Duty
it's also
game.
bound up in tribalism.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like people who wrap up their identities.
It's okay
like,
for me to do this because I'm representing the brand.
I'm protecting the thing I love.
Exactly.
Right. In a very toxic way, like you're protecting the thing you love in a very like fucking like I own this person way, right?
And it fits into so much of where we are today that people don't want to know how the sausage is made. They don't want to know the details of how something was created. They just want to enjoy the thing. And this comes down to the constant just play the game. Just like, don't tell me what you feel politically. Just play the fucking game. Dribble the basketball. Don't tell me how you feel about politics. You know, that whole mentality where people just expect you to dance for me and don't tell me your person. Don't try to push your personal feelings on me. I just want you to do what you're paid to do.
If you put a black person in a video game, suddenly you're political.
Exactly.
It's like, motherfucker, black people exist.
Yeah.
Like,
but anytime they're present, it's DEI because they're forced to be in there.
Intentionally keeping, you know, diversity out of video games is political.
Yeah. And they can't see that because they're so blinded by hate in most cases. So, and it's important that people understand that this is influencing coverage of games, and you have to put a little more work into it. And unfortunately, you tell that to somebody and they're just going to go, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have to put more work into it. I'm not going to bother. I just want to play games. I just want to relax. I just want to watch a movie. I don't want to think about it. The success of Michael is a huge example of that recently, where people just wanted to enjoy the music and they wanted to remember young, innocent Michael Jackson, and the movie let them do that. And a lot of people were happy to just put the blinders on and just go and immerse themselves in the nostalgia, ignoring the bigger fucking issue. And that sucks. And that its massive success is very much a condemnation of the current mind state. So there's a great movie to be told about Michael Jackson that's more honest about it, and it's not going to fucking happen with the support of his estate. Yeah. That's all there is to it. Many of the reviews that I've read, Pitchfork reviewed the movie, and it was really great writing. Again, a great fucking critic that wrote and critiqued their choices, and like by not looking into what may have pushed him into that mindset, where, you know, they just chose to just do the simplest explanation possible for everything. And just go with the basic tropes of a biopic and just go with that. And people were happy to do that, like trained fucking SEALs, rather than try to engage with the material. So yeah, it's Bellular News is a person who's trying to give more perspective on these things, and it's good to celebrate them for doing that. And we love Bellular News. Where the fuck is he from? That accent is so odd.
Irish.
It's Irish. That explains it. I love Irish culture, and yet I have a fucking deaf ear to a lot of Irish accents.
As soon as I heard him talk, I'm like, oh, that guy's Irish.
I know. It's so weird that I didn't immediately get that. I mean, the Tri-Channel is one of my favorite things, and they're all Irish. So anyway.
Well, it's Irish, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's lived in America for a while or something. Like,
it's hard. It might be a lapsed accent.
It is very mild. It's that kind of like oh god, what's the guy from No Clip? That guy. Anyway, it's like him. Anyway,
sometimes like occasionally the accent will come. There's a YouTuber that is in my feed, Kyla. I'm not sure what her name is online. She does economic shorts on YouTube. And she doesn't have an accent until she hits certain words, like the way she says AI. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I looked it up, and she's from Kentucky.
Right.
It's the Louisville accent, and it only comes out on certain words, but it's like a fucking hammer when it comes out. It was kind of, yeah. It's hilarious when it comes out because you don't notice it until certain words and you go, what the fuck? It's like when I used to work phone support for American Express, taking incoming calls from the States. And people didn't know that they were talking to a Canadian. But then I'd say, yeah, your total for next month is about $15.49. And they go, are you Canadian? It's like, fuck. But it's just certain words that trigger it.
It's really funny because I've had that myself, like because like doing a bill stream or something, and I've become aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really like accents. I mean, I do voice acting, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I am conscious of how my words sound. And every time I catch myself doing a real Ontario, like I just leave the A out, like the word card, C-A-R-D. That's a really fucking hard one, let me tell you. Because to remember that there's an A in that word and not just say card.
See, right? I barely hear it. But yeah.
I guarantee you, like people who are not, like Suni, I'm talking to you specifically. Suni's from Denmark. Okay, so it's like, I know that they heard it really strong right there. Yeah. And it's like, I remember once I said it so strongly that I freaked myself out. I'm like, I disgusted myself. I'm like, for fuck's sakes, that sounded like Bob and Doug McKenzie, for crying out loud. What the fuck are you doing?
It's like every time I go home, in Nova Scotia, Halifax doesn't have a strong accent as a general rule. But you go a few minutes.
I'll bet y'all hear it.
You get out of town. You drive like 10, 15 minutes out of the city, and you hear the friggin' accent. And sometimes it's like you're in the deep south. It's so fucking weird. But anyway, that's a whole different tangent. That was a fun little angle.
Few tangents.
We should probably move on.
We should move on because I want to burn through the next few things because we got a real big one coming.
We can actually skip the next one. I just very quickly, the latest bullshit scalping trend was for a watch.
Is that what that was?
It's Swatch. Did you know Swatch still exists?
I did know Swatch.
It's so fucking weird. They did a collab with Audemars Piguet Royal Pop.
Oh, them.
And people went apeshit. But there were basically fights at the stores with the launch of this thing. And this comes down to the same thing as always. It's not people that want the fucking watch that are lined up for these things and beating the shit out of each other. They're lined up for money. They might as well be handing out money at these things. It's no different than any other hot fucking product. But basically, people were straight up paying $400 for a watch and then flipping it for $4,000 online. So you're literally... It's money. Everybody's not lined up because, oh man, I really want that watch. Like there are, of course, people in the article saying, geez, I can't afford, like the collab company.
I have a question. Well, I have so many questions, but
the company that they're collaborating with, their watches are like $20,000. So the fact that they're making a Swatch version for $400 is amazing to them. Oh my God, I can own a watch from this brand that I love that would normally be way too expensive for me.
It's just a brand.
And but then this fucking guy says, oh, it's $400. I paid $2,000 for it, but because I didn't want to wait in line. It's like, there's the fucking problem right there, is because dickheads like this, first of all, if it's worth $2,000, charge $2,000 for it.
Pay me $2,000. I'll wait in line for you.
This is what happens. But then somebody else would cut in front of you and possibly take your watch because they want money. They're going to make several $1,000s off of this, and they're willing to
bitch.
Well, exactly. And that's what happened in the lineups. And they actually had to shut the fucking store down and didn't even open it because there were fistfights happening all over the fucking planet. Every location on Earth was having these fights happen outside because all these assholes. And these, let's be clear, these are the worst people on Earth.
I was gonna, what just came into my head was the let them fight meme.
Yeah, fuck man, it's disgusting. But these again are the worst people on Earth because they're there for money. This is the Pokemon scalper. This is the same thing. Yeah. It's exactly the same people because they just go wherever the hot item is that they know they can flip for a shitload of money. And sneakerheads, same difference. They don't want sneakers. They want to sell the sneakers to people with money. Like
every time I hear about one of these people, I try and picture what their life must be like.
Yeah.
God. What do they do? Because they have a life.
Oh yeah. But you see this. I mean, I saw this all the time at Comic-Con. I mean, because Comic-Con was ground zero for a lot of this shit because people would go to Comic-Con with their families and then assign each family member a different item to go get in line for, because then they go to the Hasbro store because they had to get there 3 o'clock in the morning to be the first people in line to make sure they got to the Hasbro store to get the the Transformers special edition that was only available there because they were going to flip it. The $150 item they were going to flip on eBay for $500.
It must be just cocaine, right? It's got to be. It's
just money. I don't think it's drugs. Well, it's meth because they need the meth to keep moving.
There is a foundation to all of this because you cannot tell me then again that we're 2026, Kevin. I was going to say you can't tell me that you can because we have this kind of cartoon picture in our head for these people, but these people are human beings and they go home and they have a life.
But they're the worst people on
earth.
And
they have meals and they take shits and they have a life. So
but their mindset. This is the grind set. These are the kind of people that live with that mind. It's all about the hustle.
But if I tell myself, then the thing is, that's just all cocaine.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
London stores shut. Police dogs were deployed. Elsewhere in the UK and Birmingham, news reports spoke of fights and knives and drug taking before police were called.
Hey, see?
Yeah. A mosh pit developed outside stores in the Netherlands. Clashes in Dusseldorf. Officers fired tear gas to control a 300-strong crowd outside a Swatch stop in Paris. Open brawling occurred in Milan. Arrests and shut the... these are not people who are oh, man, I got to get this Swatch. These are people money, 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 money. Look, if you're in my way, I have to kill you because I'm here for money.
I got to get that Swatch, man.
Fucking unreal. But Swatch, of all the fucking things, Swatch. Motherfucker. Singapore. Swatch finally issued a statement on its Instagram page to all our dear fans worldwide of our APX Swatch collab.
Please stop shanking a bitch.
To ensure the safety of both our customers and our staff at Swatch stores, we kindly ask you not to rush to our stores in large numbers to acquire this product. The Royal Pop Collection, this is the kicker. The Royal Pop Collection will remain available for several months. This wasn't even limited shit. It was simply, it's available now. For the love of Christ, just take a fucking breather. You'll get your watch eventually. Nah, man. Some dickhead's gonna pay me $4,000 fucking dollars for this watch. So I am gonna beat the shit out of this dude that cut in front of me.
Speed kills.
Anyway, don't buy it. Don't buy this shit. I have a feeling nobody listening to this podcast was aware of the existence of this fucking thing.
The gonzo journalist in me just fucking loves this shit, man.
Yeah. Speaking of gonzo journalism, Subnautica 2. This was actually big in the Stop Killing Games subreddit because it's very much about the EULA.
Yep.
And holy shit, you're not allowed to tarnish Krafton's public image. You're not allowed to use a VPN while playing. You're not allowed to go against social norms. You're not allowed to sue them. Any related art you make becomes Krafton's property. You waive your right to a judge and jury. This is the kind of shit that they put into their EULA for Subnautica 2, and everybody's just basically laughing.
I got some friends in Gamers Tavern, shout out Gamers Tavern, who are quite enjoying Subnautica 2, and I'm like, I ain't touching that. Football.
I mean, I'm sure the game is delightful. However,
the whole, we could go into the whole history. There is a very complex history that's gone into this game. The actual people who made the game are lovely.
Exactly.
Let's make
the
that
actual game makers are great.
Yes, this is corporate shit beyond them.
And it's what's hilarious though is none of the shit is actionable.
Oh yeah,
but these are also, they also put this kind of stuff in the EULA, knowing that none of it's really actionable, but they just figure a lot of people are going to read it and go, oh, okay,
and not try.
Right,
exactly.
Yes. Like, gee whiz, this game literally broke my computer, but I guess I can't sue because I agreed to the EULA. So I don't know. Again, this is why Stop Killing Games is into this, because this is exactly the kind of thing that they're trying to it's great timing, because now that they're actually getting some real notoriety and they're going to the fucking European Parliament to talk about these things,
and actually getting some momentum too.
Even in California, they've been in California this week.
Bellular News has talked about that specifically.
So the fact that they're getting out there, and then you got these dickheads making this EULA so they can say, hey, here's a perfect example of the kind of thing we need to shut the fuck down because this is insane.
Yep.
But the Apple terms and agreements are just as evil.
Do you mean the fucking the encyclopedia?
Yeah, like the giant thing everybody on Earth has agreed to. That basically the how old is the Human Centipede reference that South Park did? Like 15 years ago now, more. And I mean, it's there. It's probably in there. They probably put it in there as a joke, and they're like, "Well, technically, we can actually implement this. You sign off on it." So, anyway, just
is there
sad.
anything to talk about with Diablo 4?
Have you been playing it?
So my note is that I have tried. I've got a little bit further. I've been playing on the Eternal Realm.
Okay, with Beverly.
With Kalashay.
Okay,
my rogue. So because that's canonically that's the character. Beverly is my secondary character. And it's like I kind of hit a point. I hit a point where it's like I hit a boss that I'm having trouble with.
Okay, even with the Eternal, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. And I think my build, because I'm up against because we're down to level 70s, right? I'm not quite there yet.
Oh, so you haven't even hit 70 with it?
I haven't hit 70 yet.
Oh, because as soon as you hit 70, you're gonna get your Paragon points.
Okay,
like it just instantly. So then your build will completely explode.
Exactly. So I just gotta be more patient. But I hit a boss I couldn't beat 3 times in a row, and I'm like, fuck, no, I can't.
Take a break, but it's. They've changed.
As we talked about before the podcast, the problem with being me currently is every game I try and play, I'm like, but Warframe's right there.
I could be playing Warframe right now.
But anyway,
I on the other hand, so I've been playing it.
Okay, good.
I was hoping that you at least had gone through the Lord of Hatred.
I'm getting
story.
there.
That's fine.
I'm getting there.
There's no rush on any of this. It's just
I'm honestly trying.
Because I ripped through the Lord of Hatred stuff, which was great. And I started developing that build, and I'm like, okay, I think I've got this one fine for now. What I didn't realize initially was that I knew that there were extra torment levels, but I thought maybe they were only in the seasonal. They're not. No. You have to press R2 in the level when you're choosing which torment level. Like, well, I'm at the maximum right now, and I'm ripping through everything, and then I pressed R2 and went, oh fuck.
Right. You know what? I just realized that because I'm on T2. Yeah. With Kalashay right now, if I just bump it down, I can probably beat that boss.
And
I'm an idiot.
As soon as you hit 70, it gives you all of the Paragon. Right. Like I said, I've never actually gone back to do any of my Eternal Realm characters. I had fat fucking stacks of gear waiting for me. Like Obdicite, I had like a bajillion Obdicite for masterworking. I had everything. I'm like, oh shit, this is easy. And then again, once I hit, because all you got to do is get to 70, and it'll unlock all those Paragon points, so you can just fully kit out your build. Because I think you've also got.
You're still playing on the Eternal Realm, right?
Well, I have the Eternal Realm character ripped through, so I started my seasonal character,
right?
And I'm into the Paragon levels now on that. I'm up to Torment 1 or 2. Because they've changed it so much. Like I need legendary items to drop so I can get the affixes to put on my gears at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of at that point with Cal too. But I'm looking at the current build guides on Maxroll GG, and I'm like, I don't have any of this shit. Right. I have no idea what this is.
Same thing. But I did just have a Ring of Starless Skies drop, which was nice because that is part of my build, which is nice to have the Mythic on the build that I'm still trying to get the fucking legendaries for. So. That's positive.
RNGesus blesses you.
Yeah, seriously. So I'm not sure how much longer. I think the current season's at least another month and a half.
I would hope so.
It's not as rushed as the last one, but I did fuck one thing up. I got enough platinum to buy the pass. And then, so when you unlock the pass, you have to choose specifically the premium pass because that unlocks all 3 elements of the reliquary to get all your gear and shit. I unlocked the fucking reliquary. And I blew right through the warnings where it says, hey, man, you need to do the pass thing. I'm like, what? Click, boom. And it went, fuck. So
it's, you know what? They don't make it clear.
No, and it's really stupid. It's very stupid how they price it. Because so for those of you who don't know.
Look, it is intentionally deceptive.
It is. So to get the premium pass, it's 1,000 platinum. But if you were to buy those, there's 4 different reliquaries that you get your gear from. And the first one's free, and then the other 3 would cost you 1,500 separately. So they're giving you a deal by letting you have it for 1,000. But if you just get one of them individually, you cannot get the discount for the remaining 2. The good news is that I only bought the lowest one, so I have 1,000 platinum. So now for next season, I can I will be able to get the fucking premium pass without buying more currency.
Right.
So I'm fine. The other stuff, I'm not going to be able to unlock all of the shit from this season, but whatever. It doesn't really matter.
I mean, my income is so limited right now that I really have to be careful. So, but
Yeah.
I looked at all of the stuff available in the battle pass. I'm like, I don't give a shit about any of this. So it's
The new cats are interesting. The battle cats are kind of cool. But again, nothing that I'm like, I need this. I need this to live.
I already have so much cool shit. That
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Like,
Even the pets. I mean, but there's some very cool pets that we've already gotten.
Well, because I did the Ultimate Edition upgrade or whatever. So I've got the funky Drake mount, and like I've got.
What more could you possibly?
I got
need
some. I got some cool shit.
So anyway, it's been good following the general the flow. You know, the fugue state you enter with these games. The new war table is still. I've barely scratched the surface of the war table.
You don't even know what you're talking about there.
Yeah,
so
that's end game. It's end game stuff.
All
It's it gives you a lot of different expansions of all the elements of the end game. It's fascinating. I think you're going to be really interested.
It sounds like the kind of thing that I would like. Here's my problem, and here's my worry. Here's one of the reasons why I'm hesitant to like invest too much into this is because they've changed it so many times. I just keep something. I don't want the whole goddamn game to be disposable. That is my problem with the current meta of Diablo 4, is that every time I spend time doing a thing, I know that in a month it's gone. Right? Like
it's largely been for the player's benefit.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I know that they're tweaking and they're adjusting.
Yeah.
But again, this is probably part of the poison that Warframe has injected into my head, because like one of the brilliant ways that Warframe has been able to model themselves is that when you invest time into a thing, that will pay off.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's kind of where my head has got to with video games. So when I see something like Diablo 4, where it's like, oh, this is something I could enjoy, but I know that if I put time into this, that's only a temporary benefit, and that's all going to go away in a month.
Yeah.
Like everything's going to change, and all of your gear is going to be worthless. And
the seasonal. I don't mind the seasonal thing for rolling the new one, but you know, it's good. It's also good to have the Eternal Realm. Know that there's going to be something to do in there. Anyway, I have also been playing other games.
Have you?
I know. I've actually tried to. I've made myself fucking play other things just to diversify instead of just focusing on one title. So I finished Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, which were good. Very, shall we say, video gamey, which I don't think I was expecting.
Right.
You know, the structure was extremely video games. I don't know what I was expecting. I played them both in story mode instead of fuck my shit up, because I just really wanted to get through it narratively. And, you know, the narrative was interesting, but the choices they made in the second one were kind of baffling.
I only got in the beginning of the second one. I played the first one all the way through.
The driving force of the second one is the discovery of a planet called Tanalor, which was discovered by the Old Republic. It was impossible to get to because it was inside of fucked up nebula or something, and somehow they were able to find its existence and get there via a compass of some sort. And the premise was
that smells very
they were
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
to me.
and they wanted to build a special temple there, and even I guess I forgot that the Empire even existed in that era. So they eventually got betrayed, of course.
Well, yeah, the remnants of the Empire will still be around, right?
Yeah, well, and this was a long time ago. So, and now it's the.
Oh wait, no wait. Jedi is between the first and second series.
Exactly.
Yeah,
this is before Star Wars.
The Empire is rising.
Yeah.
Then.
So the Jedi have been wiped out, and you are one of the Jedi that are on the run, and there are other Jedi that are in the game.
Right. Yeah.
And it's interesting because they're trying to explain what was going on with these other Jedi. Like, obviously they were trying to reassemble, but they were still hiding from the Empire. And
look, okay, I'm sorry. Vader, Palpatine, all you guys, how the fuck did you not find these 8 million Jedi that were still running around?
They find them. That's the key. And they didn't deal with the Inquisitors very much in the second one, but there were some around.
Right.
So yeah, they wanted to have some fun in that world, but it's very dark. Obviously, it's very depressing.
How can you end that
it.
on a happy note?
Well, that's
right?
it.
Like, that's the whole thing. But with anything set in that era, you can't. It can't end well.
But
right?
again,
Like,
I come back to the solution was stupid.
Okay.
The way you get to this planet was dumb, and it just didn't make any sense logistically. I mean, yes, it's very boring to look at something logistically in that world.
Is it a Deus Ex Machina?
It involves firing blasts from 3 different planets into the nebula to open the access point to get there. And it's like, guys, this doesn't make any fucking sense. There's other ways they could have done it that would have made more sense instead of having fucking blasts coming out of a planet. Like, gee, I wonder if the Empire could see these giant lasers coming off of each fucking planet in the system opening up a hole. Like, yeah, and even then, it doesn't end with the Empire showing up on this planet either. It's just simply, I don't know if they haven't announced another game.
Missed my bang on Darth Vader.
It was
impression.
very good. It was,
what the fuck is that?
are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Vader is present in the second one as well as the first one.
Oh, good.
Because they got to have the big moment with Vader. In these
Spoilers.
games. Yeah. So anyway,
Good thing James Earl Jones licensed his voice to an AI company.
I don't think they used it for this one. I think it was actually an actor, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, they're dirt cheap. You can get them very cheap. They're good games. They're worth. I was surprised at how many visual glitches I found in the second one. I was expecting it in the first one, even though it's been out for several years. And then Survivor's 2 fucking years old now. I thought, okay, this is great. I'm playing on PS5 Pro. I know they've got an enhanced patch and shit. It should be great. Bugs fucking everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
The one that was the most persistent was, so you get on the ship to go to a planet, like the Mantis is their ship, and you go to the holo table and you choose your planet, and then once you engage, the pilot goes to the cabin, and then you're supposed to eventually go up there, and there's banter. The pilot would T-pose behind the chair for like a good 15 seconds before it would teleport itself into the actual pilot seat and start doing its thing.
That sucks.
I know, and I'm just, Jesus Christ, this game's been out this long, you've patched it so many times, and still, like on a fucking PS5 Pro, I'm dealing with this shit. I was really disappointed with that. And just weird little tearing on the regular. Now, I don't know if that was part of the FSSR2 stuff or PSSR2, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yes, sir.
I didn't try turning it off to see if that fixed it, because I shouldn't fucking have to, because the whole purpose of this thing was supposed to be make things better. And if I have to turn it off and it's not good better now. And again, I'm still choosing between quality mode and performance mode. I want my shit to be in 60.
Look,
you
should be thankful you just have a console.
Well, I know. But even just dumb shit like, I'm running it in 60, but every time it would go to an in-engine cutscene, not an external cutscene, an in-engine cutscene, it drops to 30. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to see my guy dressed up the way I want. And this is the other dumb thing. There's the customizability in the game. You can customize your lightsaber. There's a bunch of different designs that you can pick up in the game. You can customize your outfit. You can customize his fucking facial hair. And it's all very dumb. I was very disappointed with these customization elements. I mean, building your lightsaber sounds like a fun idea, but in the end, it's kind of fucking worthless. And they have too many options, like, because you don't just learn to use your lightsaber. You've got a dual saber option. You've got a double bladed saber option. You've got a crossguard saber option. You've got your saber and a blaster option. Then they all have their own fucking trees. So like, you just choose which one you want to use. It's very, and it just feels like video game. It's just like they had to give you all of these options that and once you get to use the one, you get to like the one you've got, and then all of a sudden, now you can use a blaster instead. And like, but I all right, and it's like I was enjoying the double saber, but I guess I have to choose, because you can only use two stances at once as you jump between the two of them. Just dumb shit like that.
That sounds like a build, though.
It is, but it's also, they're all the same, especially if I'm playing in baby mode like I was in just story mode. It's still amusing, but I kept using crossguard despite the fact that it felt like I was just tanking moves, and it was so fucking slow, because the crossguard like Kylo Ren. So, but it just felt bad, and yet I kept using it because I just wanted to do the most damage possible if it made contact, but half the guys would dodge out of it anyway. So I played both of those. And now I'm playing RoboCop Rogue City, which was a PS Plus title a couple months ago. About that. It very much feels like the movie, which is delightful. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting there to be investigative modes, like Arkham Knight's little detective vision. So you'll get pulled into cases, and you go and you look around and you scan for things. But what's frustrating is that I get into the one of the first cases that comes up, and you're scanning things. You're like, oh, let me do that, and it's like, oh, that requires level 6. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just started the game, and you're telling me I need level 6 to do this thing?
Go grind, bitch.
Basically, they're saying you're gonna come back to this one when you do New Game Plus. That's all. I know that's what it's gonna be. It's basically we've already put New Game Plus shit in here. Don't worry about it. Just tear through the game, and then you can play it again. So anyway, it's amusing. I'm not in love with it, but I'm definitely going to play through it because I'm pretty sure it's only going to be like an 8-hour game, which is fine. So yeah, and again, it was part of PS Plus. So I started to play Space Marines 2, but it very much feels like it wants you to play with a squad, whereas the first game was very much a single player game. So, and when it's squad combat and you got to rely on the AI to do all this stuff. Yeah. And again, it's Warhammer, so the narrative's a little thin. So it's just for the Emperor. Okay. I don't get it. I'm not into that so much, but it's a lovely game, but I don't think I'm going to play that one. So anyway, right now I'm in Rogue City for RoboCop Rogue City. And then I'll probably play an Assassin's Creed game because I'm so far behind on those, and I really could. I'm kind of jonesing. I don't think I'm going to get Black Flag resynced. I'm going to wait for that to go on sale because
I don't really have the option.
No fucking way I'm paying $60 for that.
Yeah.
$80 or whatever the hell they're going to try to charge for it. And I've still got Valhalla, and I know I never bought Shadows. I have Shadows, or I have Valhalla, and I feel like there's another game that I didn't play. There's so many of them.
If I can make a recommendation, you could pretty much miss Valhalla.
Yeah, I know, and that's the other problem.
Which kills me to say, because on paper I should love Valhalla, but
actually with Lego, the new Lego Batman game is out, and that's getting really good reviews. So maybe I'll play the Lego Skywalker Saga, which came out a couple of years ago that I bought a hard copy of and never fucking played.
There you go.
And now it was free on PS Plus again. So I'm like, all right. So I've installed that, so I'll likely play that one next, or on as well as Rogue City. But anyway. Playing games, it's good. It's good for you. It helps.
Speaking of video games, all right, here we go. This is the big one. You ready? Buckle up, strap in. Here we go. You've heard of Destiny 2. So this week, yesterday, at the time of recording,
the TWID came out this week in Destiny.
I don't think it was like, this has kind of been expected for a while, but this was a real surprise. This sudden, this seemed like a shock. So correct me if I'm wrong. What I believe the situation is the final update for Destiny 2 is coming in June.
Right.
And then there will be no more.
Correct.
The servers will still be up.
Yes.
You will still be able to play it, but there will be no future updates to Destiny 2 after June.
So what the community was waiting for was an announcement about their next update, because it was supposed to have been out already, and then they punted it to June. So it was basically called Shadow and Order, and nobody really knew what was going to be involved in that aside from Pantheon 2.0, which was just basically a boss rush mode. And so the silence was deafening. The lack of information coming from Bungie was deafening. Every update, they would do their weekly update.
Oh man!
Just tiny little
I can
elements.
feel it. I know exactly what that feels like. Oh my god!
And
yeah.
I don't think people really expected them to just say fuck it. I think they were at least expecting another year. I think. Right. But the fact that they waited this long,
that explains the kind of surprise that I've seen around this. Because again, I'm not in that world, so I don't know.
They've invested so much in that the game, and they started a whole new saga, the Edge of Fate saga, which is what last year was. But that was also where I tapped out.
Right.
All of us that were playing the game around here all said, "I'm good." You know, it wasn't a goodbye forever at the time. It was more of a, I'm not interested. I've played too much of this as it is. The final shape, which we talked about a long time ago, was the end of the Light and Dark saga, and it was very clearly the end of that large storytelling that they were in the middle of, and it was a great story, and it was a solid ending to that. And then in the wake of that, they still had some other content that continued. It kind of started a new story, but also was kind of finessing out what had already happened. And it was it was pretty good. It wasn't great. Those other expansions were entertaining, and they weren't as big, obviously, as Final Shape, but they weren't supposed to be. They were small content.
Yeah.
And then when they did
we kind of knew that the Final Shape, I mean, hence the title, was going to be kind of the penultimate.
Leading into it, myself and many others assumed that this would be the perfect way to wrap up Destiny 2 and eventually launch Destiny 3. That would have been the most logical course of action. But having spent $4 billion on Bungie, Sony's basically saying, let's try to squeeze more out of this. And they convinced themselves that people were happy with the way things were in Destiny, and that they could continue on with the same engine with some improvements and, you know, new weapons, new story, continue without spending hundreds of millions of dollars theoretically on a brand new game. Let's just keep going with this one and keep it going for a while. I mean, you know, Warcraft continued forever and still does on the same basic bones of the original engine. So they wanted to treat it like an MMO. And they were just hemorrhaging players.
Right.
I mean, talking about Bellular News, and the coverage for games are so focused on player counts now. Yeah. It's so frustrating because it is not the final metric, and it is not an accurate metric in a lot of ways, but it is a very strong indicator. So when you look at the numbers for Destiny and you see the player count on Steam, which is publicly available, and you see numbers that are the lowest they've ever been, because there hasn't been any content, you know,
the writing is on the wall.
You can't expect people to be playing a game that doesn't have fresh content. And so it's been in a holding pattern for several months. And the last expansion, even though it had a Star Wars element to it, it was not successful. It wasn't nearly as successful as their other releases. So obviously people felt like it was done. And again, many fans, myself included, were kind of over it anyway.
Right.
I had spent so much time in this game that it was necessary to just play something else for a while. And I was happy to come back to it at some point if the content seemed interesting, if the story was compelling enough to bring me back. But the Edge of Fate never sold me on that. And a lot of what they did in the main expansion looked very dumb. You know, like, oh, their new abilities, like you can turn into a ball. What? It's like, oh, it's just some bullshit Metroid transversal bullshit. There's nothing interesting about that, but they were so focused on that. And that was, for me, that's when I saw the end of the game. When if this is the kind of mechanic that you're trying to push as an incentive to play the game, I'm out. But I have invested so much into that game over the years, and I love that world. And this is in the bigger picture. Destiny has been an incredible game, and the journey that we have been on has been incredible and unexpected. People never anticipated having a game have this kind of pull for this long. The core gameplay has always been strong. The gunplay, the design, the characters, the world, but it was very clear that they were being held back by likely Sony or whoever was in charge at the time. It was Activision for a while, then they were on their own. But even at that, when they couldn't pull it off when they were independent, that's when people really started questioning the viability of the game. Like, it was very obvious that designers and the creators involved in this game had brilliant ideas that were constantly being held back by the money men, who just wouldn't let them have the budget necessary to make these things come to life, which comes back to the big story, the big element we were talking about earlier, how, the shareholders matter. And if they don't feel like they're going to get their money's worth out of a title, they're not going to let you spend that money.
Yeah.
And they have to have vision. They have to say, you guys do incredible work, and we want to enable you to make the best game possible. And when they released Lightfall, and again, there's going to be postmortems for 10 years over this fucking game.
Oh, yeah.
But Lightfall was, in a lot of ways, the beginning of the end, because that was a major release, and it was very successful financially, but narratively, it was a fucking disaster. And it was so frustrating because they created this amazing world, populated with ghosts instead of people, instead of life, and had the very premise of it, that there was a secret colony on Neptune that snuck off basically during the Great War, and created their own society, and were operating completely in secret for hundreds of years until all this shit happened in the story. But they do nothing with it. You're in this incredible world. You're running these missions. The areas were great, and then after the events of the actual expansion, they never touched it again. At no point did anybody actually, even the main characters that were involved in that story, never became part of the main story after that. They made appearances in certain elements, but it was never important. And it was so frustrating to see them create this area and then do nothing with it. And that became so regular, where they would have the new expansions and then do nothing with it and not continue a story or tell more stories in that area. It was baffling. It still is. And I'm sure that there's going to be some of the people who worked in it and that are going to say, no, we had great ideas for that, but they were shut down by corporate. And it's very frustrating.
Oh, but it's just more than just corporate. It's a structural problem.
Absolutely. Dude.
It's because the story department, right, and the game mechanic department don't talk to each other.
No,
right?
It was very, very badly managed. I mean,
Right.
The Pete Parsons, who was running Bungie for a very long time, was horrible at doing his job. He was very well compensated for being a very shitty boss. And it was largely his fault, I think, that a lot of these groups did not talk to each other, because he wouldn't let them, because he tried to silo everybody, because he didn't want people getting ideas. And it definitely crippled the game. And that was the biggest issue that they had, were dealing with the people at the top. And it wasn't just Pete, it was also a lot of those the corporate, the C-suite people.
Yeah.
Fucked them every chance they got. And it was so heartbreaking, because they paid brilliant people to work in this game, in this world, and then did everything they could to stop them from doing that job, which is, again, baffling. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you employ these people and then not let them do what they're good at, and then second guess them on everything that you paid them to be? So, and here we are now. Again, realistically, Final Shape should have been the end of Destiny 2. I mean, given how Destiny 1 was only up for a couple of years before they replaced it with 2,
which I should point out was a surprise. Like,
It
that
was.
was not the plan.
No, and that was also engine issues. They were trying to move on.
Remember, the original plan for Destiny 1 was the 10-year game.
Exactly.
Right.
But even that was, and I was thinking about that earlier too, how whatever they had promised for Destiny at launch was thrown out the window and rebuilt from the ground up.
Oh, yeah.
So we never did see the actual original plan for Destiny. What we've seen is a shadow of what they had initially guessed.
Yeah.
So Destiny 1 was only a couple of years before they restarted with Destiny 2. And again, in the end, it was a good choice, but even that took a while. Destiny 1 had a huge fallow point in the early years. It took them a while before they really got their legs.
I remember, like, the Taken King was the thing that brought Destiny 1
That's
back.
when everybody went, oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That was a game changer, literally. And then Destiny 2 also had a very fallow launch, where it was a lot of fun at the very beginning, and then they had nothing, and it wasn't until Forsaken where it really took off. So, these things take time, and this is something that corporate doesn't want to hear. They want, no, big hit out of the gate. That's it. That's all we want. Don't take time. Be good right away, and you will be rewarded for it. And, like, that's not how it fucking works. TV shows take a good season or two to find their legs and find out who the great characters are and where they should be going. But no, you got to be a hit. If you don't have numbers week 1, we're going to cancel you. We may not even finish airing those episodes because we've decided that your audience, there's not going to be an audience for it. We're not going to let you find one because you didn't get it right off the bat. And this is the biggest issue we have right now in media, is trying to convince the corporations and those people that want to deal with the shareholders and convince them, you got to let stuff breathe. You have to give them a chance to fail, to find the successes. And that's becoming very difficult in finding those moments. So it's getting harder and harder to give creatives the chance to be creative when they're expected to deliver massive success immediately, or utter failure will be rained upon you.
Well, anyway, so
Destiny 2. So as it stands right now, yes. So June 9th, this final the Monument of Triumph, as they're calling it, and basically it is everything they had been planning for the next year is just getting dumped in, with the exception of the actual narrative elements. So they've straight up canceled the actual expansion, but all of the fun things that they were going to dole out over the course of at least a year. There's a Sparrow Racing League, which was something that they had in Destiny. Did they have it in D1? I think they had it in D1. It was just a simple, fun little way.
It does ring a bell.
So that was just a fun little thing that they did that they never brought back. People were like, bring back Sparrow Racing, and we'll deal with that. And like motherfucker, just do it. And then they did.
Look, that's vaulted.
They were only going to do it this year. So that says a lot. And then some other. So they're not doing seasonal elements anymore. They're not going to have the Guardian games. They're not going to do any of those things. It's just going to be. The strikes, everything that's currently available will continue to be available. They're not bringing back launch material, so the stuff that got sunset.
This is the question that, like, so okay, pretty much at this point now, after June, the game is on life support, right? That's kind of where we're at.
It's sunset, yeah.
Motherfucker, unvault everything.
They can't. That's the problem. Is this? They vaulted stuff because of the new abilities. You know, this is I keep coming back to the one element. Like when they did Stasis and Beyond Light, and you could create an ice ball basically that you could stand on. That was going to break every map in the original launch content. Right. So I think that was the biggest reason why they wanted to just vault that stuff and just say, we're not going to let you go there anymore because we can't control where you go based on these new abilities.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
actually. That's that.
But you know. And then it turned out, because when they got sued over the story for the Red War, they admitted that they lost all that fucking code. It's gone. They couldn't relaunch it if they wanted to. They'd have to build it from scratch, which was going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Aztecross has been pushing for them to do Destiny Classic, like relaunch Destiny 1, 60 FPS or 120 FPS, 4K. You know, just do it, and people will come, and they're not likely to do that. So right now, that's all we know, is that June 9th, they're going to release this new thing. There's going to be a few updates in the short term as they launch, as that comes out. Just obviously, if this shit's broken, they'll fix it, more or less. And then that'll be it. And then it will just continue. You can still fire up Destiny 1 and keep playing that.
Well, yeah, that's I think that's the important thing. The servers aren't shutting down.
No.
Like you can, if you want to go play the thing, you can still play the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
it would be great if they had unlocked the Red War and you could just at least replay all the narrative elements of that. That would be amazing, but that's not going to happen now.
That's a real shame.
Yeah. So the phrasing that they used in the official statement suggests there is a future to the franchise, but they're obviously not going to make any massive announcements.
This is where we come now around to Jason Schreier's report.
Yeah, Schreier and Paul Tassi are both basically saying that not only is this the getting sunset, they're also looking at massive layoffs.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say massive layoffs. There are layoffs coming because they're
specifically related to Destiny.
Yeah. So obviously they don't want to keep paying people to work on Destiny 2. But, you know, again, as a creative, you're like, then why the fuck aren't you keeping them all on to build the new content, you dumbass motherfuckers? But that's where we are in the video game world.
This is what Schreier specifically was saying, was like, there are some things being pitched. Mm-hmm. Nothing is greenlit. They are not actively working on Destiny 3. Yeah. There's nothing in the pipeline.
So
right
rather
now,
than, and again, rather than keep the good people around by paying them to work on these new pitches or whatever, they would rather fire everybody, start working on very early alpha development on just basic concepts, and then as they ramp up, they will hire more people.
Yeah.
Rather than keep the people they've got and keep them living in the fucking Seattle area.
The
and
C-suite does not
life.
understand institutional knowledge.
Those
right?
That era is gone, and it fucking sucks that none of these people understand that, you know, these are human beings that you're just casting off that will now go elsewhere to find employment, and they're not coming back. And the people you bring in may be adequately skilled, but they're not going to have that same connection. So that's where we stand at this point. Is now Destiny 2 is officially being sunset. You can still play it. It's still a lot of fun. They're going to release a final purchasable version of the game, which will include everything. I don't know what they haven't said what they're going to charge for that. Hopefully, I think it'll be like $40. I think they're just going to be like, here, enjoy. They're not expecting to. I don't expect them to charge $90. I think even right now you can buy the Edge of Fate Renegades, and I think that even includes all the other stuff. And it's like it goes on sale for like $40-$50. So I can't expect it to be much more than that. And so there is still a lot of fun to be had, but the joy of preparing for the next iteration is gone, and it's simply going to be enjoy what you've got. And I mentioned as across, he has actually been replaying Destiny 1 on his stream for the last couple of weeks, and he's been having a lot of fun exploring all these old raids and strikes and all those elements, and remembering how great some of those things were that were never eventually even brought into D2. So there was a lot that they could have brought back in, and they just haven't, and they never will.
I mean, it's heavy because, you know, I've been in a couple of times now, you know, where I've been playing a game that I actually cared about, and it has been either shut down or sunset in some way. And I get it. I understand that that's like, you invest time and emotion into this game, and there are people and memories associated with that game, and that's important to you as a human being. So that is the thing that I keep focusing on, is like, it's just like, oh man, this sucks.
It does, like, and this is it.
Even though, like, despite, you know, my history with Destiny and Destiny 2 has been long documented on this podcast, we don't need to reiterate it, but I've tried many times to force myself to like it, and on paper I should love it, but for various reasons I bounced off of it, and I eventually gave up, and then found Warframe. But
ironically enough,
yeah, I mean, well, that's the other side of this. It's been fascinating being now so deeply into the Warframe community. I mean, I don't want to steal the thunder, but like, it has been very heartening from my position, because, like, you know, being in the Warframe subreddit and stuff, because there's been this kind of frenemies association between Destiny and Warframe for 13 years now, right? Like, literally, Warframe is contemporary with Destiny 1. Let's not forget that, right? So, and there has been some dialogue back and forth, and there's a lot of DNA shared between the two games. And there's been kind of like community, not really competing, but kind of competing. Yeah. There have been people who've been wanting to pit the communities against each other.
Of course.
You know, of course, because rage bait, right?
Yeah.
But everything, and I mean everything I have seen from the Warframe community has been like, fist bump. Like, we get it. This sucks. Like, we know how much we can imagine, like, if Warframe shut down, how we would feel. We get how you feel. Like, there's a lot of people going, oh, just go play Warframe. And it's like, nah, man, that's not it. Like,
there's not a lot of joy at this point from people over the shutting down of D2.
And I've been very proud of how the Warframe community has responded, because we've seen a few influxes of Destiny players now. Yeah. And I mean, Astacross is one of them who's been like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? And so, like, there is a vector for the Destiny refugee to find Warframe and go, oh shit, this is great.
Yeah, and you got to respect how rich Destiny has been, that it did create so many streamers. Like there was so much to do in this game and such a community that people were able to make a living off of playing this game and bringing other people in, and it's remarkable how many people have got careers based on that now, and a lot of them are in flux for obvious reasons, but they are not stupid. They have seen the writing on the wall for a couple of years, and they've been trying to branch out. And like you said, Aztecross has tried a bunch of other titles, and in the end, it still came back to Destiny. But
like a few weeks ago, one day on the weekly community stream for Warframe, I turned it on, and there's Aztecross sitting in one of the chairs. I'm like, okay,
and that was largely because
it wasn't Aztecross, it was Maddox.
Oh, Maddox, yeah, and Mactix.
Mactix,
he was broken up today.
Yeah,
I watched his video, his stream when he was.
I can imagine,
and he's very broken up, and it's because it's a lot.
It is a lot, and I guess kind of the point is coming from the other side of the aisle, as it were.
Yeah.
Like we get you, we get it. Mm-hmm. It sucks. Yeah. If you are looking for, there is a new home.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same as where you came from, and we get that. It's going to be an adjustment period, but there is a welcoming place for you to go. I guess it's kind of and that's the message that's been coming from the Warframe community, and I am so unbelievably proud of that.
And as epic as Destiny has been, it has also been a very frustrating experience.
Sure.
The whole time it's been frustrating. It always felt like it was on the edge of oblivion. And the fact that it's gotten this far is amazing. And it speaks to the core people who created it, who made it what it is, and the fans who kept it going through the dark times and kept it going long enough for them to get the chance to reinvigorate it. And the highs of Forsaken and the Witch Queen and Taken King are just all-timers that will probably never be equaled. And that's just I feels like it's just gone now. And coming back to the stop killing games, we want these to be playable forever.
Yeah.
On some level, eventually once Bungie and Sony pull the plug on it, there should be a way for people to continue to play these games.
Absolutely.
Once it becomes financially unviable for them to continue that, there are many people who will cheerfully keep that flame going for as long as possible. And that's what needs to be embraced is once you have decided it is no longer financially viable, please let other people take on that burden. They're not going to try to make money off of it. They're not going to restart the whole franchise. They simply want those experiences to be replicable. And the fact that many of them are already lost, as I said, the Red War is not ever going to come back unless it's rebuilt from scratch. And that's not going to happen by the fans, I don't think, at the scale of it. But, as it stands right now, or as of January 9th or June 9th, that version of Destiny should be able to be enjoyed by people, and they should be able to come back to it every 10 years or so to go, oh man, I got to just fire up one more strike. And, and I hope that will continue to be the case, but it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So there we go. RIP, as it were, or at least moribund Destiny 2. It sucks, and but time passes and things suck.
I was gonna say, I mean, I moved on a year ago and started playing other games, but it was always nice to think that it was still there. And again, I really wish they had they started work on Destiny 3 during the development of Final Shape, then we'd be closer to its launch.
Is the thing that really gets me is the fact that this feels not like just the end of Destiny 2. It feels like the end of Destiny.
It's very much a possibility. That's given how things are, but the amount of money that Sony spent on Bungie, and they wrote off like $700 million or something ludicrous. They overpaid. When they paid that much, everybody went, "Are you fucking high?" Because the speculation
Andrew,
was
live service games are the future.
Yeah, exactly. But the speculation at the time was they must have something absolutely unreal in development that they haven't announced yet that made Sony go, here's $4 billion. And that still could be the case because there was no world where Marathon was going to be $1 billion game.
Yeah.
It's a solid title. It's an extraction shooter. It is not $1 billion game. It is not a 4-quadrant hit. It is a really good example of that genre, but was never going to be a huge crossover success. So we'll see.
All right, there we go. I'm very sorry for everybody who is a Destiny player, but you know, it's the way things go, and it's unfortunate and it sucks, but you know, things change. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of things changing, I don't know. I got no segue. So unfortunately, last weekend marked the first weekend in like over a month that I didn't actually game stream. It was just
Shit happens.
It was a weird like sleeping and feeling crappy and headaches and stuff. Things happened last weekend, so I didn't actually game stream. But that's the bad news. The good news is this week, or this upcoming week, so this weekend I do hope to get back to game streaming, streaming some more Church of Warframe, of course. This coming Friday is the last Warframe dev stream before TennoCon. This is going to be a fairly big one because there's a big June update coming. This is the new Jade Shadows Constellations update is coming in June, and that's the last update before TennoCon, which is the big one. So I'm good at, so the last 2 dev streams I've done a watch along, and they've been really fun. So I really hope to do that this coming Friday. I plan on doing it. I'm almost assuredly going to do it. And if at all possible, I may actually do a build stream where I work on Ordis, just like I did before the dev stream. And then,
that'd be a good way to
we'll do
dovetail into it.
Yeah, we'll do the dev stream. So there we go. That's what's going on. Other than that, we are kind of in a holding pattern on Warframe because we are going into the big June update.
Yeah.
So we will find out more details about that. But more folks from the Gamers Tavern continue to play Warframe. I've got a couple folks now who have unlocked Steel Path. We're starting to get up the thing. And I mean, Warframe is one of those things. The simile I keep making is, okay, so it's like an onion. And you keep peeling back the layers of the onion and you keep finding like 6 more onions. Because that's kind of what it is. Like there's so much, and it's almost hard to describe how much there is in Warframe. It's whatever you think Warframe is, you're almost certainly at least partially incorrect. Right?
Yeah,
There's so much in it that, I mean, tonight, as Andrew walked in, I was playing Railjack. Did you know that was in the game? Did you know that there was like flying around in spaceships? And
Yeah, I think I've seen you do that before.
because
but I
like
knew it
I've
was
seen
part of
people like, wait, what? You can pilot this shit? Oh,
I
wait.
was just surprised when your pet showed up in the middle of your space battle.
You know,
That was
why
amusing.
wouldn't that happen, right? And the first time I played Railjack, this was hilarious because like I played 4 or 5 missions of Railjack, which is where you actually get to pilot a ship and fly it around like a X-Wing style, you know, space simulator. I didn't realize you could leave the ship. You could actually get out of the ship and then you go and you can do like missions on bases and you can like take over a base and you can board other ships and take those. I was like, oh, how do you fit so many games into one game? It's wild. So yeah, that's where we're at with Warframe. I've got some folks in Gamers Tavern who are currently discovering what the wide scope of Warframe is, and it's delightful and charming and continues. It's wild how much staying power it is. I am genuinely surprised at how much staying power it's got with me.
You're just marking time till GTA 6 comes out. I know you're going to go hard on that.
Yeah, exactly. Of all of my regrets, and I have many, many regrets in my life, never getting into GTA in any way is not one of them. I'm pleased. I mean, there's never been anything in those games that appealed to me. To me, GTA has always been, what is sim douchebag?
Do you know who else said exactly that, Kevin? Elon Musk. He very proudly said last year at some point that he's never played a GTA game, and he's so
okay. Yeah, me and Elon are tight.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's the one part of the 2 circles on the Venn diagram.
Exactly. We found it.
Don't like GTA.
There's one anomaly, and that's it. Me and Elon both don't like GTA. I
Also
don't even know if I don't. It's not
require
that I don't like
oxygen.
it. I don't have any like hook into it. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing about that appeals to me. Right. I tried. This is one of those games again that I tried to because when GTA 4? I don't know who was the Russian guy.
That was 4.
When that came out, it was such a big deal that I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and force myself to like this. I'm going to see, there has to be something here. There's so much hype around this. I have to be missing something, right? Because I'm not like that far out of everything. I'm a human. I have feelings and play video games.
This is a video game. I like video games. Why don't I like this video game?
And nothing, man. I just don't get it. I do not get why Sim Douchebag is so fucking appealing. Why?
I will say, I don't think I've ever completed a Grand Theft Auto game. I don't even think I finished Vice City's story mode.
Yeah.
Like, not one of them have I ever been in it enough to finish it. So I will say that I've bought most of them, but I've never completed one.
I guess I don't have the mental hooks that it requires. Like it's just not there. So anyway, no. Warframe good. Okay, that is the catch up. That's all of the things. We are slightly over time according to
Well,
but
D2 News was enough to take an entire podcast.
That was a
really.
lot. So yeah, wow, heavy stuff. Actually heavy stuff, but bittersweet. Several bittersweet. The Bittersweetcast. There we go. There's where we're at. Oh boy, that's gonna be fun.
Sunset Cast.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Kevin.
If you've listened this far, you are, of course, a champion, and we will catch you next time.
You have been listening to Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet podcast. Visit www.operationpuppet.com for all our links. Tell your friends, give us a rating wherever you get your podcasts, and join us again because nothing is more entertaining than aging nerds giving their opinions on the internet.